Good evening. My name is Bruce Montgomery, and thank you for watching this edition of Technology Access Television. Well, if you've been watching this show for any length of time, you should know by now that Chicago is making big things happen in the technology industry. There are more startups and software companies, app developers, mobile apps, gaming companies, cloud computing, you name it. Things are going on right here in Chicago. And what's that doing? That's creating demand and job opportunities, demand for employees with these new skills. Hey, you know what? Nobody can tell you that they know all this stuff because this stuff wasn't even around to know. It's happening right now, and you've got to figure out what you're going to do. Are you going to watch all this go on and say, I need to be doing something, I need to have a job, I need to be making some money? And people are doing it, and you're sitting around talking about what you're not doing. Well, what are you going to do about it? Only thing you can do about it is decide you want to get in the game. How do you get in the game? You get in the game by figuring out where can you go to get the skills quick, fast, and in a hurry to put you in the mix to take advantage of what you already know. Chances are you have business background, marketing background, education background. You couple that with this new technology, and now you're talking about something that employers right here in Chicago are looking for. My guest today can help you get on this tech train and get paid and get involved with all this exciting activity. It's an organization right here in Chicago that's got more programs than you can shake a stick at that will actually cover the cost of you being involved with getting these types of skills that can get you hired and get you in. You start that?
Yes, sir.
So you're an entrepreneur yourself.
I am. Yep.
How long ago did you start CTIC?
2006.
2006. And you guys, were you always located in Hyde Park, or did you start somewhere else?
Originally in Bronzeville.
Okay.
And then Hyde Park, not far away.
All right. How long you been in Hyde Park?
3 years, since 2009.
And you have a complete computer training academy that's right on 53rd Street in the Hyde Park area, in the center of Hyde Park on 53rd Street. And you've been training in all types of areas, Microsoft disciplines, project management. I'm a proud alum of your project management program. It's one of the best I've ever had a chance of being involved with. And now you're doing some new things, and you're looking out for all types of different groups by offering some of these special programs. Tell us about some of the programs that are most exciting today that your school is offering.
Some of the new things that we've recently added are mobile app development. We have a program that covers both Apple and Android development. So if you want to learn how to develop apps, that's the perfect course. And a lot of companies now are moving, in addition to commercials, radio, print, companies are moving towards creating mobile applications that people can use to access their services and products, and we teach you how to develop those applications.
And when you're taking one, first of all, a workshop like that takes a person now, let's say they have a little bit of programming, maybe not a lot, or maybe they know a language, maybe they know some Java. Can they come into a class like this and really, depending on their level of experience, get up to speed where by the end of the class they actually have the skills to develop a mobile application?
Yeah, absolutely. The class is designed for app development.
Okay.
So it gets into the specifics of that, the components and techniques that you use to do that. It is recommended that you have some development experience in C, C++, Java, any one of those. If you have some programming experience, then you should be fine.
Now you also work, again, not just in those areas, but you work in management disciplines like project management and ITIL and some of the tools that are used to manage IT projects no matter what the underlying technology component is. And that seems like that's been a core competency of your school for some time.
Yeah, absolutely. These are the languages that companies speak. And so it's good, and we encourage degree programs as well, having a degree, a bachelor's degree, a master's degree. But when you take those programs, you have a higher level general education of concepts and theory. The actual languages as far as how companies are doing business. They're using ITIL for strategy and architecture, how they're designing their IT infrastructure, managing change management and projects. They're using project management for accomplishing their goals. They're using Six Sigma for process improvement. And so we teach all of those skills. And these are all industry recognized certifications. So, once you have those and you put them on your resume, any major corporation will recognize them.
Now, you go a long way of helping individuals who are taking your classes actually find employment opportunities. What's been your success rate of finding job opportunities right now? Again, are you seeing increased demand in Chicago for these technology and business skills?
Absolutely. Our placement rate is 83% for students who get certified and complete the program. And what's happening right now is that with the constant event of new technology, new opportunities open up all the time. There's constantly these new gaps that you see where a need now needs to be filled, and companies are looking to fill those, whether it would be with an app and how they apply it, or projects they need to execute to fill those gaps, or how they can improve their processes so that they can take advantage of other streams of revenue that are now out there. When you think about people purchasing items on app devices and through social media and so forth.
Now, one of the frustrations when it comes to education is people feel the expense of education is the barrier to them getting it, or the time. I mean, people are working and then they have to, figure out, can they go to school in the evening? Transportation sometimes is a challenge. What are some of the things that, as you look at the barriers to people getting the skills they want, how is your organization trying to help people overcome these barriers, either financial barriers or others?
That's a very, very good point. The number one barrier to education is finance. That applies to any level of education. And so some of the programs that we have available for people are state-funded programs that they can go through where they can get grants to cover the full cost of their training. The certification classes we talked about earlier, there's cost associated with them.
Yes.
And sometimes it can be very expensive. That's covered by those grant programs. They also offer transportation assistance. So you're talking about a program where the training is covered, transportation is covered, certification cost is covered. There literally is no out-of-pocket cost at all.
Now, many people hear those type of offers on late night television, on TV, come here, go there, sign here. But there have been a lot of horror stories in regards to some of these schools. Some of these schools are not accredited. Their programs don't lead to certification, and people end up in more debt than when they started.
Absolutely.
Your programs are tied right into programs that are offered by Cook County, by the state of Illinois. How do people know how to separate fact from fiction to recognize that they actually can take this kind of technology training and have it be covered by county or state funding?
Yeah, absolutely. That's a very, very, very good point. First of all, we're approved with the Illinois State Board of Education. So one of their objectives is that, and requirements, is that all schools that participate in that program, when we're talking about vocational business schools, there are different standards for colleges and K-12, that the training lead to employment, some recognize certification. The requirements are basically the same for most state programs. The Illinois Workforce Development program, they require the same thing. So we are approved by both of those organizations to provide training.
Okay. And one of the things that you and I were talking about that made me want to, you've been on the show before talking about the school and some of the different programs, but you said, there's some new programs that are now available, and these programs are available right now, may not be around forever, some that are targeting veteran populations and targeting some other special populations. What are some of those? Could you talk a little bit about the veterans program and how that works, and how veterans that may want to get into some of these hot technology areas can take advantage of this kind of program?
Yeah, absolutely. We're approved by the federal government to provide training for veterans. And they recently, on May 15, 2012, they opened up a brand new program. It's called VRAP. That's the common term you'll hear. But it stands for Veterans Retraining Assistance Program.
Okay.
So a lot of the veterans who got out of the military in the 70s, 80s, and 90s, they may have used their GI Bill, which is a funding educational program, to help them to get employed for things that are now not in demand. maybe if it was something related to construction, HVAC,
Okay.
electrical work, all great skills, but if construction falls in those things are no longer in demand. And plus we have new industries that have been created. And just the basic general requirements for a lot of jobs have changed now, where they require you to have some type of IT skills. So all of those are reasons why veterans who've gotten out of the military years ago need this retraining.
Okay.
Thus the Veterans Retraining Assistance Program.
All right.
The difference is that under the GI Bill, you had 10 years where you could use your GI Bill benefits. This program is only for 1 year. It's a 1-year program. It's a second, maybe possibly last chance program. We don't know if it's going to be refunded again in the following year. So it's very, very critical if there are veterans out there and they want to get back into the workforce or gain skills that can help them to be an entrepreneur or to be self-employed. This is an excellent program for them.
So they can contact the school.
Yep.
You can help them get the VRAP documentation needed so they can submit their forms to that program, and then that'll cover the cost for tuition and all the expenses associated with specific training curriculum that's available through your school.
Absolutely. We work closely with the VA. We've got the process all the way laid out. All they really need to do is come in. We will walk them through the application and get it submitted the same day. There's a limited number of veterans that they're allowing into the program. So
Okay.
it's not a program that's just for every veteran,
Okay.
you know,
So
before
there's going to be a cap
2001.
on it.
Exactly. A
right.
financial cap and just a numerical cap as far as the number of veterans they want to allow in.
When you, since your school offers such a broad and diverse set, you know, you have Cisco training, you have Microsoft training, now you're getting into mobile apps and these kinds of areas, you have project management as a discipline. Where do you, in looking across these different things, where do you see some real pent up demand that employers are literally just saying, you know, if you could turn these folks out, I really need folks with these skills? What are some of the skill sets that are absolutely in demand right now?
Hard to pinpoint just one, but I'll give you maybe a top 3.
Okay.
Cisco networking. There's the Illinois Broadband Initiative that's going on right now. There's going to be a huge demand for Cisco engineers in the coming years.
As these networks get deployed, infrastructure gets built out, somebody's going to have to manage these networks once they're built.
Exactly. And for networking, for the lay people out there, it's just like electricity in your home. You could have a wonderful flat screen and the best appliances. If you don't have electricity, you have nothing. Without a network, you don't have email, you don't have internet access, you don't have any exchange or any inter-office communication, Skype messaging or any of that stuff. So it's literally the foundation for all of the digital technology that you use within your company. So that's why they have to be there. They will be the last guys to go, them and the owner.
Okay, and since you have been doing this kind of Cisco training, and we know there's many different levels of Cisco training, there's network design, network architecture, network administration, and you could go all the way up to CCIE, which is a full-fledged engineering status within this industry. As you've trained and put people out in this area, what's been the activity with your alums? Have you seen people come in, start at a CCDA or CCNA and go out and gain employment, but then stay on course over years to get those additional certifications? Have they come back and offered encouragement to new guys just getting in the mix that, hey, this party isn't over. This is not something that's going to play out, that I did it, you can do it too, and this is something you can stay with?
Yeah, absolutely. We have an alumni program, and that's one of the aspects of it. We have the alumni who've gotten employed come back and speak to the students at the school. And then also alumni get lifetime job placement. If they are ever out of work, they can come back and obtain employment. There was a young man who attended our school. He was actually from another country, from Vietnam. Came here, got a green card, was here 4 years, got his CCNP, got a job making $60,000 a year. It was a 1-year contract. He lost that job, came back, and the instructor was working during the day but teaching in the evening, left his current position and was going to another position and got that student into that position that he was leaving out of. He's making close to $100,000 a year now.
Wow.
So, I mean, I could just go on and on. We have several of these stories that are just amazing, and it's just, as you know, a lot of these things are relationships when you're talking about employment. So we network with the VA, we network with a number of different corporate organizations because it's a huge cost for them to bring people in who are not successful. There's a lot of money that goes into new hires and training. So they look for companies that are training people who've had a relationship with them already, so that when they bring that person in, there's a much stronger comfort level. And so, those are some of the ways like that our alumni program
and if
benefits
people,
employment.
what is your website if people want to go to the website to get more information about these classes and these offerings? What's your website address that they should go to?
www.cti, as in Computer Training Institute, ctichicago.com.
Okay, ctichicago.com.
Yep, and that's also our tag on Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn. You can find us at CTI Chicago.
Okay,
Yep.
and what's the phone number that they can call to find out as well?
773-952-6030.
Okay, and you are located in Hyde Park on 53rd and?
Actually on 53rd Street.
Okay.
The main cross streets are 53rd and Blackstone, but
Okay.
the exact address is 1424.
Okay, and
East,
I think
53rd
there's
Street.
is there a Boston market or?
Boston Market. We're right in the same building with them, and also the Hyde Park Barbershop where Obama.
Okay, all right,
used to
where
come
the
and get his-
president gets his haircut. Huh?
Absolutely.
Okay, all
Yeah.
right. So I mean, this is very conveniently located. People do not have to go downtown. They can be right in the community. And then you have classes both in the morning, you have evenings, you have weekend classes. So you got a lot of flexibility on when people can take classes. As you start to move into some of these new areas like mobile and app development, how are you finding qualified instructors to teach some of these new kinds of things? Where do you go to get your talent for people to teach these types of things?
It's kind of funny. One of the ways that I actually got into this business was teaching.
Okay.
I actually did, project management as a profession and got into teaching and then ended up starting the school. And a lot of professionals really get a lot more enjoyment out of teaching than they do working their regular jobs because you have the human element to it. So it's not very hard at all. There's several, we really don't have a hard time finding good instructors. We do have very high qualifications for them. They have to be certified in all the programs that they teach. They also have to have some years of experience in teaching, but there are several, most of our instructors, they work and teach. So you're learning from people who are working in the industry now and also teaching as well. But yeah, it's not very hard. It's very rewarding when you you're working with people and you're performing a service, that can help to change someone's life.
Now, a lot of young people have skills in these areas. I did a show maybe 6 or 7 years ago talking about this whole area of Cisco certification. At that time, there was these Cisco network academies that existed in some of the Chicago public schools. And I put the word out to CPS that I wanted some of the students to come in and talk about their experience. And they went out to all these different schools, and the only one they could find to come in was some students from Hyde Park High School. And I had 2 young ladies come in along with their teacher to talk about their experience, and they were just phenomenal. They were extremely articulate, very talented. In fact, one of the young ladies said, I plan on getting my CCIE right soon after I graduate from high school. And I was like, what you know about a CCIE? And she said, I know about CCIE. They make 6 figures. They do this, they do that. And she had it all down. And so I thought it was just so phenomenal that these young ladies really enjoyed what they were doing. They installed the local area networks. They set up routers and hubs. They set up switches. And they did all this in high school. And then I found out just recently that the program is no longer there, that the teacher left and whatever happened, and then they took it away. What's wrong that we can't get these types of vocational skills in front of our young people when they're really open and receptive to this kind of thing? If 2 young ladies at Hyde Park High School could really, and I talked to their project managers, and I said, look, they said, look, we showed them one time how to do it, and then we went off on a coffee break. They were running the job. They were putting networks into Chicago public schools. They had a supervising organization, but the students were actually doing the real work of wiring and putting this infrastructure in schools.
Yeah.
When you sit back and you have your classes, are young people in these classes, 16, 17, 18, 19 years old, are they able to get involved with some of the classes that you offer?
Absolutely. Young people can get involved. There's no age limit as far as being able to take a certification. I think, if I remember correctly, the youngest person to get like their MCTS was like 11 years old from California or something like that. But yeah, there's no age limit. For our classes, most of the students are 18 and up. Under 18, you just need a parent's letter of consent. But there are things that you shouldn't be intimidated by.
Right.
That anyone at any age can learn if you just have an open mind. And for us, we look at the end goal first. We look at employment. That's the end goal,
Right.
and we work back from there. What are employers looking for? What's in demand? That's what we're going to teach. We're going to have qualified instructors who've done it. The curriculum is going to match the certification. So that's different from the traditional college format and approach. And the same thing also with the public school systems. There are career academies who are still teaching things that are not even in
Right.
demand anymore. And a lot of that just has to do with the leadership. A lot of them mean well, but you have to have technical people and people who are aware of what's happening in the market right now involved to have a successful program, so you know what to teach and know how to teach it. And I think that's the component that they're missing.
Now, because of these revolutionary mobile devices like the iPad and because of their ability to be involved with distance learning, with webinars and these types of things, how are these devices working their way into your training environment? You know, I looked at a story the other day where Chicago Public Schools is one of the top school districts in the country for deployment of iPads. And many schools like IIT and Chicago State University give iPads to every incoming freshman student. What's happening in your curriculum that are starting to incorporate mobile devices, iPad, multimedia content, distance learning content? So when people aren't in the lab physically, they're still able to engage in a learning dynamic.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, first of all, with mobile devices and mobile apps, it allows you to take a class from anywhere. And you can do that with a laptop as well. But obviously the tablets or the iPads are a lot more mobile, a lot lighter. But basically with our online program, we call it a live virtual classroom.
Okay.
Basically everything that you would have in the classroom, you can have remotely. So if you're traveling, if you're a working professional and you're traveling, or if you're sick, or if you become disabled, or for whatever reason you can't make it into the class, or you live far away, or whatever the case may be, you actually hear what the instructor is saying. You see exactly everything that's on his desktop, just as if you're in class.
Okay.
If someone asks a question, you hear that question. If you ask a question, all of the students can hear that question. Most of the online programs that are out there, it's a recording or it's some type of application you're going through. There's no interaction, human interaction directly with the instructor at that time or with other classmates. So you're a little bit disconnected. You're watching a program that's teaching you how to do something, and as it's teaching you, if you have a question, you couldn't ask it.
Right.
So I don't know how effective that is. But yeah, ours is it's a virtual classroom, as close as you could be to actually being there.
Okay, so yours is really a leveraging what's going on. So there are some students that are in the classroom, and there's some students may be accessing distance-wise. And have you put together an archive or a library of additional education resources that people can download and have on their iPads? So whether it's terminology or whether it's practice interactions, that there's a whole, again, there's a big conference that went on out in the Bay Area just about a month ago, and a couple of technology journalists that I know said of all the conferences that they attended this year, the one that had the most emotional and psychological impact on them was this education conference, because they could really see how education is about to become disrupted and how it's about to become completely re-energized by this whole new dynamic. Because in your particular area, people do not have to go a long way. I mean, they could pick up bits of knowledge in 3-month increments or 6-month increments, get out there in the workplace, start making money, and then keep learning and keep working and keep learning and keep working all the way as far as they want to go in this thing.
Absolutely, there is no end, and we have a wealth of information in our IT library that the students have access to, content related to the courses they're taking, and that is the first step to kids being able to actually go to school from home. You've seen this in the workplace where companies have outsourced the office space where, I shouldn't say that word outsourced, but
Just
people are working,
virtualized, right.
virtualized,
Right.
where they're working from home. And I think that that's where they would like to take education. Parents can be also at home with their kids, and kids can take a full class. They already have virtual charter schools already.
Right, exactly.
And the next step is just for the child to be able to see all the content, interact with students remotely from home.
So I'm talking today with Paul Johnson, the founder and CEO and chief educator at the organization, CTIC. And if you want to get more information about this phenomenal program, again, CTIC, and what's the phone number again?
773-952-6030.
This is a phenomenal organization that's making cutting-edge technology training available in our community, and many times with programs that will cover the cost of these for veterans, for people, dislocated workers, for other people looking to get a leg up in this industry today. My name is Bruce Montgomery, and thank you for watching this edition of Technology Access Television.